Hello there, my name is Flicker, and today we're going to be visiting the Strange Pear Gallery. I'm currently in a Friends Plus instance, so people may show up while I'm recording this, and that's fine. Whoa. Beautiful, even just from a distance. What's the title of this one? To be whole is to be put back together. Darkness and all. Not for sale, understandably. This is gorgeous. The haze. Oh, it sucks. Oh, like the inside of a subway car. Oh, not even a comfortable place to lay down and rest. Oh, and then there's car after car after car on an endless train. Oh, waves await us. Beautiful frame and beautiful art. Original is fragile, understandably. Regicides implement. Oh. Down with the monarchy. Freedom for all. I find it interesting that they used a golden yellow color here. I can't tell if that center focal point in the hilt of this weird sword thing is supposed to be an eye or not, but damn. Fucking damn. Oh, pretty. I visited a desert once or twice, and I've just never seen the appeal, but this fucking oh, the framing and lighting. Oh, that's just, it looks so cool. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm. I don't know what species of green skin that is. Because it could be an orc or something else. Heck. I hope I'm not being speciesist. Solar spirit. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The perspective work is well done. The line work for both lighting and shading is just delicious in the way that portrays a humanesque form. with raw energy, almost. Hmm. Very pretty classical landscape. Just looks and feels like something I would find in an old fantasy novel. A hand-done illustration. Oh, it is hand-done. It's with watercolor. Nice. Wonder how long it took them to make this. Question could be applied for everything I've already covered thus far, but still. Ooh, dynamic shot. Now that's a title. Just lore. In the ruins of a dream. The American dream, the dream of a simple life, or some other kind of dream. I'm curious. Got good framing, the lighting it really helps draw the eye into the angle that you're looking at it from. It's a well taken photo. Ooh, we're getting some proper adventure vibes here. Instead of a classic fantasy novel, we're getting a classic fantasy comic. Oh, I wish them luck with continuing. It looks like they've already got some neat ideas here. And they've also got their own unique aesthetic, which is beautiful. Now loading. The art immersive immersivism. The art of the internet. Aww. Glad to see the community still growing. Ah, moonlit launch. Vegeta! I'm sorry, but I have a meme in my somewhere in my archive that's just like they want you to believe that this was a rocket launch. And then someone edited in Vegeta and Kakarot fucking fighting. That, no, absolutely stunning. Exposure time was 360 seconds. Beautiful. Moon is glowing vibrantly, like an artificial crescent. The blazing trail of the rocket is also left behind. Awesomeness. Ooh, interesting. I'm not sure what to say about this because it doesn't necessarily appeal to my tastes stylistically and aesthetically. It's got some damn good heart, well figured out to way to English study exceed. Please fucking reboot. Ah, the lighting is nice, sets the tone really well. The color choice is good. The way that the clothes feels just right, even if it's even as it's painted on. This looks like an artistic portrayal of something you would see in the Great Pug at some point. I haven't been there in forever. I should just wander around at some point. Sakura nerds. Hmm. Pretty anime girl. But beyond that, good lighting, nice stylistic choice in where to imply detail versus actually putting in detail. That's something I personally still haven't figured out yet. and is an artistic trick that serves to render many beautiful works of art, like that of still life. You're in my sights. Oh, nice editing. From over there, I'm like, is that someone holding a gun in the background, like a police officer or whatnot? But no, it's the rest of the head and the face. And my brain was just having trouble recognizing it because of the elements that were overlaid with it. Oh, interesting. I have to wonder how people end up with their ideas sometimes. These are absolutely beautiful. Cyber Night Out. Oh, is that, is that, hold up. Yeah, I think it's something along the lines of this world. I haven't been there in forever. Oh, between responsibilities and otherwise, I've been kind of rotting. Forced to stay in place. Oh, and failing to make my own path forward. That's neither here nor there. Frosted edges on this photo, the editing done to increase the contrast and really make it look like the filter was a result of the camera and the lens instead of being edited together. Well done. Absolute cinema. Seriously though, managing to blur monochromatic with the light elements of color, great lighting and angle. Quite the dynamic shot you've taken here. Looks absolutely beautiful. Could see this being a freeze frame during a movie. And I think that's what the title's referring to. Sunset before a new day. Hmm. See, this is what I mean by implied detail. When you look up close, it's just smudges and otherwise, but when you back off, it looks like forestry or maybe the ruins or civilization. That level of implied detail is just hella fucking useful for setting a scene. Oh, wonderful. Solitude of the Loyal. For yo, hold for a moment there, I thought this was a fucking IRL picture, but no, that is solid quality right there. Taking the time to really do the reflections on the armor, to imagine the scene around it, get the weight right. Oh, well done. Well done. Saved from sentience. I don't know what to make of this, because whatever interpretation is put into this picture is something that's reflects deep into someone else's personal ideology. And it seems to straddle the line between life and death and whether or not living is worth it, as the title implied. Absolutely beautiful, though. Good use of shadow to help it give a sense of space. Ah, know me. Head filled with shrooms. Putting on a performance in the hopes that someone will care. But in reality, no one's going to invest because you haven't put yourself in there. You've put a display piece as the performer. And even if you were to put yourself in there, if it's not authentically presented or it's like self-aware and trying to act a certain way, then that's just going to push people away. Beautiful. In a sense, you can dance with someone and get to know them that way. But that's not the limit of where getting to know someone is. Yep, Chopin's photo. Looks like it was hand painted with a brush. It's genuinely beautiful. Where the sky forgets. I'll have to visit that one. I don't think I've been there. Looks absolutely stunning with this angle. To dream of lilies. I've been there. It's a beautiful soft blue world, and it seems like it's the kind of casual where I could, if you were to place furniture on top of the lily pads and give us some comfy areas, I could easily see it working out as some place I would love to just chill and hang out in. The bell that mourned. Are we in the middle of a graveyard? This one has a good use of empty space as its subject. Because you keep looking for something specific to focus on. And it draws your attention in towards the bottom center half of the painting where you realize that's where something would be if it was still there, which then draws your eye up and over to the pedestal in front in the background, kind of creating a seamless loop where you can scroll from side to side of the image and still come back to the center point. Beautiful framing, wonderful angle. Pretty people. Awesome. Like I said last time, their art is beautiful. Can't tell if it's a guy or a girl. Because if it's a guy, then he'd seriously worked on his pecs a whole lot. If it's a girl, then it's a girl. I don't really have anything else to follow it up with. Infinite baths. Wonder if the IRL vessel and inner self ever get along like that. That's me carrying over conclusions from the last time I visited here. I could be entirely wrong about what I deciphered. Reminds me of a little image I have sitting across my room. Acrylic pour on canvas. It looks beautiful. Oh, you get this pattern on a shirt and it's all like hotcakes. Oh, neon. I like how, for a brief moment, I could see a silhouette of a person in the upper blackness surrounded by those pink lines. But then it just fades away, and maybe if I look at where the majority of the pink is, I could see a sea life or shrimp or crab or krill. And then if I look towards the bottom, the same can be said of some of the green spots, with the bottom left possibly being a sea slug. And then that nice little bit right here. It looks like it could also be something. Now my brain's like, ooh, what if these are eyes? And it's all so beautiful. Full of ocean life. Neon in color. Sweet escape. Interesting. The implication of a person being there, but then it fades out and is obscured by the fantastical wonder and amazement. It leaves me wondering if the wonder and amazement is the mask they wear in their own show and presentation. Because now I can't tell if the red part is like a clam or a piece of cloth covering it, the nose and mouth. Beautiful blue hair, nice lighting color, and interesting style. Ooh. That title reminded me of a song. Let me go grab it. One moment. Wonder if this one was made while listening to the song. Oh, all right. Just beautiful music and beautiful art. The line is just so fine. Yeah, I feel like this is inspired. Oh, I just finally, my brain finally recognized the wolf imagery in the teeth. Because I'm like, what is that in the background? And I just didn't understand it. Then I realized, oh no, wait, that's not in the background. That's in the foreground. The eye of the wolf, the snout, the teeth, the jaw. Roses and thorns. Little Red's cloak. Ooh. Heavy art. Heavy subject matter. Beautifully portrayed. What does mother know? We'll shout out, feed us the ones with cups, ones without. Feed us your girls. Don't play the math, honey, you're the entree. I love how directly this song it explicitly states that the societal conditioning around such things gives it form in word and so as to call it out and let it know it is seen and not just heard. Now, to move on from that, because that's an entire tangent that can happen another time, Oblivion King. Wonderful lighting, great use of purple and a black hole to represent Oblivion. Dynamic framing the cloth like it's in the wind while also giving a sense of mystique and power. I've got nothing more to say. It's good. It's damn good. Honey, you're the entry. Red velvet voice. I feel like this is the personification of a concept that lives in Pear's head. Someone who absolutely wields their voice like it's a weapon, but not in the way, but doesn't swing it around like people would swing a weapon. Subtle, creeps along slowly and comforting and otherwise. Maturity laced with softness and knowledge. Absolutely beautiful. Probably one of the few works of theirs that I think has more substance than aesthetic. It's definitely an improvement. But hey, I could just be reacting to the amount of red used. Old bone. Yeah, architecture of ruins and forgotten places. It can very much be like wandering through the old bones of something that was once alive. Oh. And there's a nice little character down there too. I feel like compared to some of the other artworks I've seen, these two by Pear have more substance to them than aesthetic. There's actual patience and fine-tuning put into what the psychological implications of things are beyond just the visual aesthetic. That tells a story of a proud showwoman, hosts crowds on a late night, brings to life the wherever she works. And this brings to life entire histories worth of civilizations, of people wandering through ruins. Well done. Subjugated Trinity. Oh, I feel like this relates to that one. Yeah. Oh, that one artwork from like the last gallery that carried over from one into another. Ah, I feel like this is a great visualization of what was seen by Pear in the explanation of that artwork. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, no. But what does mother know? Interesting. I feel like this leans back further into the aesthetic of things, but maybe that's just me having more of a disconnect. I am not an objective viewer by all means. I am projecting what I understand of myself into the art and seeing what it reflects back. That is one Lee, the wild creature. Are they trapped on a planet where the sky just looks like that constantly? Is that smoke of is that the purple haze in the background, or are those trees colored by unnatural lighting? The anatomy on here is beautiful. The pose is dynamic. And the tail kind of leads it right back into the head using the background as a visual cue. It's wonderful. Honey, you're the untrue when you dress like that. Mother's not around. Reverse butcher. Torn textures and hybrid glyphs. Vispo, Altered Texts and Altered Realities is a solo exhibition by Reverse Butcher exploring visual poetry as a material and visual practice. Through handcrafted collage, altered text, and hybrid digital processes, the works examine language as unstable, layered, and open to reinterpretation cross-page while in sculptural form. Time to see what this has got. Burning batteries, enchanted box, the four elements, old gods and devils. Oh, interesting. Burning batteries, enchanted box, the four elements. Spirits worshipped an old god. Devils join in. Feed us the ones with Christ, ones without. Feed us your goods. Transmutations unlock. The four elements unlock transmutations. Different perspectives and references of similar things. They may not be the exact same, but they each mirror qualities of the other, even if their angles differ. The floating tempest, a soreness cavity, the non-luminous light of celestial bodies, burning batteries crying for help, harmony, a corpse thrown into the blood. Beautiful. The struggle of being a person, personified within space itself, through a reframing of stars as burning batteries. Perhaps towards the end of the universe, when most stars have turned into dwarfs. Gifted artistry speaks your skin. The mirrored element in this one is actually rather interesting because it has basic symmetry in for most parts, but then when it gets but that's just the outline of things because it only mirrors down the center. For the center mirror, it seems to be the consistent point, except it's not because the words enchanted box aren't mirrored across it directly, evenly. Mother's not around. Her poems took up sanctuary. Those bodies. Agony. Octave. Octave. Sound wave. Reminds me of fingernails. Sound. I don't know what. Those bodies are not the right. Those bodies are not easy. Those bodies are not evil. Those bodies are not the right. Those bodies are not the place. Death. fending off people who would seek to enter its domain blindly and greedily, with 4 truths at different angles. Interesting. Feed us yogurts, honey. Her poems took up sanctuary, publicly burned. Domestic enjoyments publicly burned. The art of increasing artificial luster. A volatile poetess. Original resources, vast works. Her poems took up sanctuary in popular volumes. I feel like that speaks to how sometimes things are not preserved by keeping the original alive, but instead by things referencing the original and and holding that referenced piece into their own subject matter, calling it to life. Was sheer agony. Pear, honey, I'm trying to. Ah, like moonlit starry sky, but it's split down the middle, like that of an open wound, leading meaning. Paradoxical magic. Paradoxical magic and kept Chimel's secrets. Nothing could be simpler or more trustworthy. Like that of a bug. Referencing butterflies and other images. Interesting. Soil covered. Splendid personalities. Line covered. Hmm. The macrocosm comes in hieroglyphics. Hmm. The way they balance symmetry with asymmetry in this art is absolutely beautiful. Because it enhances aspects of both. Three-headed, 3-3. Amongst the belly. Three complemented? Hard to read. But that might be part of the point of the art. Oppress nothing, history distasteful. like a breathing jaw of some extraterrestrial or non-human entity. Triangle in shape, but it's really just the visual mirroring of this single lip. Mother's not around. Don't know why, but it just reminds me of some kind of eldritch face. Interesting. Dimensions of the liquid. The way they managed to do asymmetrical focus on symmetrical objects and then mix the two in a way that's visually pleasing is absolutely incredible. Endeavoring in vain. Bloody hell. Folio and furnaces. At this point, I don't know how to interpret these visually anymore. I'm running out of steam, and I don't think there's any way for me to summarize them other than give my initial thoughts. Because furnaces aptly describes it, the way that the orange, yellow, and red flow and burst out here. An image of fire, edited, rotated, and multiplied. Interesting. Rekindle. The concentration of lights. Now, a lot of this artwork reminds me of Yumi Nikki. Not in the sense of, oh, it looks the exact same. No, it doesn't. But the aesthetic here seems to be like some unconscious visualization of unconscious summarization of understanding. The symbols and shapes here are not simply pretty things to help frame the dynamic narrative of each piece. They inform the content of it just as much. The oxygen seen leaving. Divided state collects at last. Like that of the Earth floating in space. Green representing trees potentially, or no? The time ship sailed into Hercules of the heart. Its secretions emptied, but it must be remembered. The end. Is that an invitation for what's underneath? The instrument literally describes a bear. There's a sense of vigil and guarding here in how the orange and yellow up along these axes represents like that of a stained glass window. Someone standing in front of it casting a shadow. And then these pink lines matching with the words help give structure to an even larger form, where that can then be reinterpreted as a head. And if you want to, a priest holding its arms up, citing what they think is a holy scripture, which is really only ever a reference point and got of pre-written guidelines that can be used as a starting point for one's own navigation, but shouldn't be relied on blindly. The body, a well-known story. Among transparent, among the transparent. The body, a well-known story among the transparent. I don't know if the purple here is meant to indicate royalty, knowledge, eldritch, or decay. Having it starkly contrast just the plainness of the, like, pale paper really does give that idea of transparency with all these lines intersecting over. Like you've opened up something and separated its parts to be more easily viewed and worked with. Exist as fuel. Stars may look like that as to some people. They contain in both cases limestone. They contain limestone, in both cases heat. Exist as fuel. No, they contain limestone heat in both cases. They have that extra line added in there so as to redirect and confuse the meaning, entangling it upon itself, which then creates more of a dynamic shift over what do these words mean, and is their meaning even what we thought it was? The name of the god is found in the semicircle. The god of a reality or the god of something else? I'm definitely going more spiritual with this one, both in using RGB separated dots and overlays on top of all the paper artwork and colorizations. The centerpiece isn't even dividable down its own center line is tilted almost. Gloria. Cholera. Cholera. No, the use of framing and color in each of these pieces does a very good job of communicating substance of weight emotionally without necessarily needing all of the words to make sense or be readable. Because this reminds me of plague. Sure, green is growth, but green can also be algae and microbes and bacteria. And then we've got a grayish triangle in the center, like that of a dish trying to figure out how to identify a specific thing. The three intersecting lines, and then the three lines that go out into their own container units that look to be in similar shape to the green areas. Ugh. Feminine with sinkhole. With mixed media texture. A collage of information that makes up a person can still easily fall into the depths. But that's just me putting to words what I can see. I'm sure there is much more to this than just that. Oh. Coming in with the climb. The way the patterns on each of these seems to break up the human form and leave it harder to read almost makes it feel like the human form isn't the important part, but rather the facial features and the coloration. With the comet curve of a book like that. Oh. Whoa. Beautiful. I won't be able to put to words why, but just beautiful. The amount of effort that goes into these is damn impressive. Hmm. Curiosity, suspicion, doubt, hesitation. No, those aren't quite the right words. Curiosity, hesitance, observation. Dynamic motion in this one. Yeah, no, at this point, it enters the realm of art where I'm not sure how to interpret it. The body language is important, but the human form itself is not the center point. And that's made very clear by the very patchwork of colors, symbols, and imagery that's replaced the skin. Light and transparent. High temperature. Bones remain to no perfection. Soil. Bones remain. Even when doubt and suspicion try to hide information, the bones remain. To know perfection. Perfection is not worth knowing, because it is stuff. Now that's a... Taking that literally would actually be terrifying. Ugh. No thank you, don't want to get into the rabbit hole of that potential ideology. Meeting in a high temperature. Friction, conflict, unresolved, but also blooming new opportunity, new chances. Power and wealth and focus on the spectacularness of life, but contained to a quantifiable moment. Not reasonable, like that of a drug, psychological drug. The art I refer the reader to was actually magic. You're not wrong there. You're giving form to concepts in ways that I didn't think were possible. Convergence, trifecting the corners with it. Another thing, reaching out towards each of those points in different regards. Like outstretched hands yearning for connection. Desolation, weight, depth. Consider wonder. Between the lines of knowledge, wisdom, mind, and technology, new life blooms and a fresh eye opens. Ether, this apparent the inhalation of ether, this apparent neglect, 10 molecules of water in small poems. Small poems. Branching into new opportunities, new vectors of life and interest. No, new vectors of understanding. I don't know. The most interesting biographical opera, directed by Will the Hare, should die. Lead us the ones that curse the ones that die. I don't know how to interpret this one. Clean kept arm intertwining with that of someone who wears leaf, underbrush, and wildness as their outer shell, in dance, like two objects in orbit. A vessel. The oracle, a vessel of wrath. A woman deceived. I keep thinking that there's a section of the image where her mouth is open and she's screaming or yelling, but no. It's silent. And that's terrifying. The ability to imply that. Like claw marks dragged it to open blinded eyes. And the puddling of hereafter sink downwards. You cannot avoid the depths if you seek to grow. That which has harm can also deconstruct stagnating boundaries and set free new resources that can nurture in different directions. Death, a parachute. The maneuvers a rescue. A target crashed. Death, a parachute. From flight to mouth. A necessary fall. To be suffering, to be spared from suffering a worse fate. Roots, heavy and dark. Body, experience. In the lesser world, viz. Man, from wisdom is law of prudence. What? Heavy and dark. Oh, that title says enough. That title says enough. I don't need to speak further. A rivulet flowed down on the frontiers of childbirth. New life of a different form, of a different understanding. Cycle shifts again. One innumerable sun. One innumerable. One sun, one world, one element. A rupture. This reminds me of like a video game character's death animation. Mega Man related almost. But the centerpiece here is really the interesting part. Rainbow-like colors, overlaid with cyan, blue, and pink. Circles of deep maroon, surrounded by green. I hope I got the color name right. Common ignorance. The deprivation of touch. The remedy was supposed to be natural. The deprivation of motion. Common ignorance. Hmm. Command nothing. Be an instrument of sin, burn without fire, command nothing. That's one hell of an... How the fuck does one pull that off? What is the centerpiece? The innocent infernal, also simple. The dissolution epoch. Realizations, life. Chaos and harmony intertwined in stark contrast as the old fades into the new. Hidden under splendor and brightness. Command nothing, the innocent infernal. Hindered under splendor and brightness, the dissolution epoch. A red heat. You may lay it down in the lower part, a red heat, never to start. Reputation. The red heat of reputation never does start, because if you rely on it, it traps you. Curious discovery. Observation, wonder, something else. Where there is no light, curious discovery. Touch pure nothing, brought down from heaven, where there is no light but through a little hole, akin to being shined upon by the sun. There are no words or there's no mental space for me to put things to words or give descriptions of these any longer. Feels like they're encoded sentiment, wait to be interpreted by the user as will. Could be my delusions acting up again, who knows? Agony. Be an instrument of sin. Oh. Oh, yeah, no. The color choice is deliberate. That much I can figure out. Oh, the dark depths creeping out over the head, over the skull, over the mind. The face of agony echoed in the shadows. Things unacknowledged or unseen. Breathing, begging, trying to resolve themselves in what ways they know how, while the rest of the mind sleeps in wakefulness. Heart hole. Mm. A dead body. The heart is not to be taken. Leave it be. And that's about all I've got for this. By all means, to those of you who snuck by and listened to part of this recording, thank you. To those of you who stuck around and watched a good chunk through, I deeply appreciate it. This has been Flicker visiting the Strange Pear Gallery and giving her thoughts on each of the art pieces. I'll be seeing you all another time, another video. Goodbye.